Colombia has chosen its next president. Ivan Duque has won after campaigning hard against the FARC deal and former rebel leaders. He's sworn to prosecute them and change the deal. CGTN's Michelle Begue is in Bogota. Michelle, Duque won by a relatively large margin.
Yes, well, of the 36 million registered voters in Colombia, 19 million went out to vote, and 54% of those voters voted for Ivan Duque against almost 42% of Gustavo Petro. A lot of people are going to start talking now about exactly why did the Ivan Duque ticket win, and it had a lot to do with the peace agreement, and it's been a very hotly debated subject in the past couple of years, even back when the peace agreements were being talked and built in Havana. And now we're seeing that all these people are really voicing their concerns that they didn't agree with this agreement, that they want it to be either modified or that they want to see FARC rebels really pay for their crimes, which is one of the issues that you really heard a lot here. A lot of Colombians felt that they weren't represented because they felt in some way that this represented, the peace agreement benefited the FARC rebels more than it benefited Colombian people. And now whether or not that's really true, that's something that needs to be debated by analysts or actually analyzed. But it is unfortunately something that marketing-wise, you could say, was the truth, that Colombians really had this perspective that this peace agreement didn't benefit them, but benefited the FARC rebels. Now, another topic in these elections was the economy, and this is the first time that we were really seeing two different economic models presented by candidates. And Ivan Duque is the one who won, who's seen him as a more business-friendly model. That is how he is described internationally and even locally. He is an economist. He was a senator here in Colombia, and he during his campaign talked about how he would benefit the smaller and medium-sized businesses, as well as asking for foreign investment to come into the country. He also talked about the oil extraction in the country. Colombia's top export is oil and coal, and the oil reserves in this country are only around for 5 more years according to experts. So he said he was going to continue to try to find ways to extract more oil. These are some of the things that he proposed. This is something we can expect moving forward. We'll have to see what he decides to implement of all the promises he made during the campaign.
And Michelle, we understand Gustavo Petro just spoke to his supporters. What did he have to say?
Yes, well, Ivan Duque is about to speak. Gustavo Petro spoke first. He conceded. He said that Ivan Duque did win the presidency, and he congratulated his team. But he also pointed out that 8 million people against the more than 10 million people that voted for Ivan Duque, 8 million voted for Gustavo Petro. And he said that he is going to continue the opposition. He kind of spoke as an activist, as an environmental activist. That was one of the first things he said, was that the people who went out to vote are people who are concerned that oil is not the way to go, extraction of oil, and that instead the economy needs to be diversified and that the agricultural sector needs to be strengthened. He also said that his supporters were asking the government to not go back to war, not go back to this armed conflict, and that to try to help the implementation of the peace accords. We'll see what Ivan Duque says later tonight.
Michelle Begue, live in Bogota. Thank you.